Hi everybody, and welcome to another edition of First Person on PressProsMagazine.com, sponsored as always by the Precision Strip Company here in Minster, Ohio. Great place to work. We talk about them often, whether you're starting, changing, or finishing your career. They're always looking for good people. They probably like to meet you. Give them a call, check them out online, the Precision Strip Company, sponsors of First Person. Bowling is the subject today again. This is the week of the Kramer Roofing Classic in Minster. Next week is the BowlerStore.com Classic at Playmore Lanes in Coldwater, Ohio. The young man to my right here is a name that's very familiar, especially in Dark and Auglaize and Mercer County, with area bowling. Michael Davidson of BowlerStore.com in VERSAILLES and a member of the PBA Tour. Michael, this is a big week for you. You're home here almost in your community lanes because your family owns this now, and I know I want to have you talk a little bit about your year on the tour and moreover what this particular 2 weeks means to area bowling starting this week with the Kramer Roofing Classic. So thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, it's going to be a great week this week. Hopefully, I mean, the weather's looking great, so we got this nice patio here, so whenever we bowl great, we can come out here and enjoy the sunshine a little bit, enjoy the camaraderie. But overall this year has been kind of ups and downs. You know, bowling is a funny sport to where whenever you got it, but whenever it's not there, it feels like the bottom of the barrel, you know. So I'm looking forward to this week to really bowling well and having the support from all the community. I mean, the community in the small town it's insane. I mean, the support is, you can't ask for much better. We go all over. We go to different states, we go to different cities, and the support you get from small towns and small areas is just nothing like it.
You know, it's funny you mentioned when you got it, you got it. When you don't, you don't. It's like the old Jerry Reed song, when you're hot, you're hot.
Yep.
When you're not, you're not.
Yep.
But I think that bowlers and golfers would agree that there's a touch to this.
Absolutely.
It's not just it's just not the ability to throw it hard or hit it hard like you would in baseball, but there is a certain feel for this, and it is hard to explain.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the easiest way that I like to explain it to people is bowling is a game of centimeters. Like, because we battle an invisible oil pattern to where you can't see it, and you know, most people don't know that there's an oil pattern out there, so they're like, oh, why don't you just throw it? Well, there's a lot more science that goes behind it. Like, you want to get your ball to hook, you know, 30 feet down the lane or 25 feet down the lane, or so there's a lot more touch, like you said, finesse that goes into it that a lot of people just don't know, they don't see. That's why I say it's a game of centimeters, because if you miss your mark by one board, you know, chances are you're not going to strike.
Michael Davidson from VERSAILLES, Ohio, member of the PBA Tour, and his family is the proprietors of the community bowling establishment here, Community Lanes in Minster. I want to talk a little bit about something that I mentioned to you before we turned on the camera, and that is the importance or the significance of the PBA Tour coming to Auglaize, coming to Mercer counties, and being available for the public to come out and see the best athletes in the world in this sport. Up close, personal, particularly the young bowlers. Mm-hmm. And I think I said to you, it's like watching John Rahm play $2 Nassaus, and you get to do it for free.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's having the PBA come to, you know, Minster and Coldwater is huge, because it's one of those things, like, whenever you see us on TV on Sundays, you don't see the whole tournament that gets us there. You know, there's qualifying match play, and then just the top 5 are make the step ladder for Sunday. So, you know, you'd be fortunate enough to come out here, and then you could watch, if you really wanted to, you could watch from the ball 1 to the last ball of qualifying, then you could watch all of match play, and then you could watch the step ladder. So just seeing that is, and like you said, it's free.
This is the second year of the Kramer Classic here at Community Lanes. Yep. For your dad and mom and the people who work here. This makes, I think, about 15 years for the other one next week at Playmore in Coldwater.
Yep.
I'm interested to ask you, when you were a young bowler coming up, how much time did you spend in the early days of the Playmore Classic over there, just kind of soaking up, being a sponge around the best bowlers in the world?
Oh yeah, yeah. I was over there whenever they had that event, I would have been 12 whenever it first started. So, you know, I'm into youth bowling. I'm trying to learn how to bowl. And then a lot of the guys are really good with the kids. So if you have any questions, you know, during pro-ams or practice sessions, or even after the event, not during qualifying, you don't really want to talk to them, but after they get done bowling, you know, everybody's going to be more than happy to give you any sort of advice that they
Think
can.
of one thing that you can tell me specifically that you learned, brought away from that experience, and who gave it to you.
So back then, it would have been Parker Bone the third, and it's awesome now because we're really good friends now. But he would always tell me to just make every spare that I can and hit the line, and have balance at the line, and make all your single pin spares, and your average is going to go up tremendously. And that's I give youth bowlers that advice all of the time, so it's like full circle right now.
Speaking of youth bowlers, we know, you know, I know, we cover high school bowling here in the winter, particularly in the MAC area. I know you know that there's some really fine young bowlers here. How many of those guys have you been able to impact? A Keaton Bruns, that type of kid that comes by the bowler store there in Versailles, certainly buys equipment. How many of those times do you get to reach out to those kids and specifically tell them you can do this too?
Right, yeah. I mean, anytime someone comes up to me, or if they come in a bowler store, you know, it's hard to say whether you motivated them if they're not directly telling you. But if you, like, so I know a lot of the coaches around the area too, so some of the coaches will ask me, like, hey, how do I get this certain player to do this certain thing? And it's like, it's kind of, you just got to instill confidence in them, you know. And that's the thing about bowling, is if anybody can do it. So if you're willing to put in the work and you enjoy it and you want to learn and get better, you know, as long as you're learning every time you lace up your shoes, that's the biggest thing that matters.
The best thing, maybe the neatest thing, maybe the most ironic thing about bowling, you don't have to be 6'3" and 220 pounds to be good. I've seen kids that are 5'8", maybe 120-pound dripping wet, and they can really spin that thing.
And that all circles back to that touch that you were talking about earlier in the videos. So that's the great thing about the sport of bowling, is anybody can do it, no matter, you know, how big or small you are.
Michael Davidson again from Versailles, and his family here, Doug and Lori, are hosting at Community Lanes this weekend, the second annual Kramer Roofing Classic. Hope you can come out and see it. Again, it's like watching Scotty Scheffler and John Rahm play $2 Nassaus, and it's free. It's a great thing. A lot of excitement in Minster and Coldwater again next week. Hope you'll come out. Michael, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Always appreciate talking bowling with you and your family.
Absolutely.
That wraps up this edition of First Person on PressProsMagazine.com. Again, sponsored by the Precision Strip Company, ironically, here in Minster. A great place to work, to start, to change, or finish your career. Give them a call and check them out. We'll talk to you again next time for another edition of First Person. Thank you for your support, as always, for what we do on PressProsMagazine.com. We'll see you then.